Welcome back to Green Mile Gaming. I am your host Liz, co-host Stephanie, and today we're actually going to talk about a very serious topic. Our little county has been hit hard with a tragedy. We had a student, a middle schooler, who, age 14, just took his own life. We're not going to disclose his name. We're not going to disclose any of that, but we are going to discuss that topic because it happens a lot. Here's some random facts about teen suicide and statistics. Between the ages of 14 to 18, suicide is the third leading cause of death. The first is accidents, second is homicide, third suicide, fourth is cancer, and fifth is heart disease. Idaho is the leading state with 25 per 100,000. You had something else with the 100,000 too.
Yeah, so in 2008 it was like 2 per 100,000, and I think now.
And this is all across the U.S.
Yeah, and I think now it's up to. I think I read something this morning. It was like 10.2, which makes no sense.
Per 100,000.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's really gone up since 2008 to 2000. What was it? 18.
2018. That was where it was.
It was like 5, I think.
And this, the Idaho being the leading state, that was as of 2023.
That's insane.
It is. It's crazy.
This hit. We're talking about this. It's hard.
Well, for our county, we've had, in just this past school year, we've had a gun scare.
Mm-hmm. That was intense.
That was intense. A lot of people were mad about that.
Yeah, that should have been a
rightfully. I mean, I'm kind of like rightfully so, because school gets canceled for weather.
Everything, yeah.
And school sometimes gets canceled for sports events.
Yeah.
We don't have enough bus drivers, or we don't have enough of this.
Yep.
And they knew about this the night before, but school went on.
They did, and I can see it from both views.
Right, because you were in the school.
Because I was in the school. Because you don't want to alert.
You don't want to fear. You don't want to. You don't create that fear.
You don't want to create that fear. But we live in a small county, so everybody's already talking, and that fear was already.
That fear is going to create itself.
It already created itself. That happened at our middle school.
Is everything happening at the middle school?
Apparently.
No, we had some drug overdoses too.
We did have some drug overdoses at our high school. We've had a lot.
There's been a lot this past year.
A lot going on. Yeah, and it's like, this is real hard. I have a 14-year-old. She's in his grade.
She knew him.
She knew him. They went to preschool and stuff together, so this
hit home.
Mm-hmm. My mom heart just can't. I can't.
So, and a lot of this, I mean, it's been there before. Even the gun scare brought it. People were talking about it. The bullying, and bullying is an issue.
Bullying is an issue.
Well, you're the one.
I mean, it is an issue.
You've had personal experience with it. I have personal experience with it from years ago, and we're actually going to get into my story. And actually, I think a lot of people don't even know about my story, but you're about to.
I didn't. And we've been friends since we were 18.
Well, I don't tell a lot of people about it.
I understand that.
So, your daughter was bullied.
She was.
Your oldest.
She was.
Tell us about that.
So, she is now a sophomore. She was a freshman.
And this was in high school.
This was high school, yeah.
This wasn't even middle school.
No, this was in high
school. She get bullied in middle school?
Mm-mm.
No?
No. Her and this girl were friends, so, yeah.
In middle school, they were friends?
She befriended her, and then, like, she, I guess, got a feel of her, and she was just like,
no, we ain't good.
We're not going to be friends. And I told her,
I don't like your vibe.
Yeah, pretty much. And I've always told my kids, I don't care if you like them or you don't. You need to be nice to them.
Right.
You can
just be nice. Because you don't know what somebody's going through.
Exactly.
You don't know what somebody's home life is.
Exactly. So,
we're going to get into that, too, because we do have a story to go with that.
So she came home. It was weeks. of just constant complaining, and a mom can only handle so much, but I can't like fix everything for them. And I'd had enough. And I told her pretty much I was kind of sick of listening to it, which was not the best approach from my end. But that she either needed to go to admin to talk to them about it, or she needed to take care of it
So,
herself.
but had you approached the school?
I did. And they said they would try to keep them separate.
And things are still going on.
Things are still going on.
So basically, you have attempted to handle it.
Uh-huh.
Things are still going on.
Mm-hmm.
What was happening, though?
So it was just a lot of... The girl wanted to fight Skylar. She had gotten so mad, and I don't know what exactly happened between them, but she wanted to fight, and she wanted to fight somebody, so she chose Skylar.
My grandmother fought a lady outside the zipper factory.
Yes.
Stomped her butt in the mud hole. Yeah.
Well,
and the lady wanted to fight her, and she said, "We'll do it somewhere else." And my grandmother was like, "Let's do it right here."
Right here.
And she sure did. She, yep.
That was kind of the thing. Like, she kept wanting to fight, and she kept wanting to fight, and she kept trying to get her to come to her house and fight. And my husband was like, "I'm not going to your house. I'm not an idiot. But we can meet somewhere." So they met somewhere, and they fought and took care of it.
But what was Skylar dealing with?
Just a lot of threats. There was a lot of threats because the girl wanted to fight her, obviously. The girl trying to go around just talking smack and just... So,
see her in the hallway, yell stuff at her?
Yeah. Throw her book bag down, to start screaming at Skylar in the middle of the hallway. Just to try to get... And Skylar did really good. And she held it back. Homegirl held it back.
And then?
Well, and then she'd had enough.
And she took care of it. But it shouldn't get to that point.
It should not get to that point. And we went to the school several times, and because it wasn't really necessary a lot happening there. Like, there was a blow up in their class because they did have a class together. And their teacher wasn't there, it was a sub, and there was a big blowout. So, and I think the next day they took care of it.
How?
They met at the ballpark.
Oh, they met at the ballpark.
Yeah,
the kids took care of it. The kids were like, "Fine, let's do this."
Yeah.
And then was that it?
That was it.
The fight was done and done.
Done and done.
Did anybody get punished?
So they got 3 days of ISS for using foul language in the hallway the day before, or that day, because a certain teacher wrote them up.
Okay.
And now I went to the school, and I was like, "So you're going to tell me you're going to walk up and down these hallways, and every kid you hear cussing, you're going to give them 3 days of ISS?" And like, "Well, it was because a certain teacher." I go, "I don't care if it was a certain teacher. I told y'all to take care of this, and you chose not to." I said it shouldn't have gotten to that point to where I'm getting videos of my kid having to throw down her backpack to defend herself because this girl's coming up to her, screaming at her and getting in her face, trying to get her to fight her at school. Whatever. She got 3 days of ISS, and I took her shopping. She didn't throw the first punch, so.
There are some, like what your daughter went through,
mm-hmm.
And actually, there was a girl in New Jersey last year, Adriana Kutch, 14. She took her own life. She was attacked by students in the hallway. And there's actually a video of the attack. She's walking down the hallway holding hands with her boyfriend.
And they just attacked her.
And they're videoing it. And then they walk up.
This is a joke.
They posted it online, and she took her life. The family sued the school board.
And that's where that superintendent
resigned, yeah.
See, there's got to be more to that, I feel like, because...
Well, they filed a lawsuit because they said that they were aware of the violent culture in the school. That there's violent culture in the school, and that the school was aware of it. So they filed a lawsuit against the school because they haven't done anything. And I think
that cannot just be the first time, obviously, with those.
No, that's why
girls.
they're saying they were aware of it. It's obviously not the first time.
Right.
So, and the thing is that I don't think it should get to a lawsuit or a child taking their life.
Right.
It shouldn't get that far.
It should be handled immediately.
From what I understand, I was told that kids in our school system couldn't even hug each other. But to me, I'm like, that's not the answer.
No.
If you don't have a zero tolerance policy against bullying, and you know that there is a history of it, where there's smoke, there's fire. When you have repeated, constant complaints about a student or a group of students that are bullying, you need to address that situation.
You do. And I worked in the school system, and it sucked because at our school we would do incident reports. So like, we're in the same class, we're best friends.
Yeah.
But you pissed me off.
Okay.
Like, you did something I didn't like, and we're beefing. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna write an incident report on you. I'm gonna turn it into the
psychiatrist
just cause.
You're just gonna make something up.
Yeah, and be like, and see, that's the issue because they get so many, especially from like certain groups.
So
it's hard to.
If that system's not working,
you've got to
it's time to change the system.
Time to change it.
Let's implement something else. Okay, we're gonna try this. Keep changing it until something works. You're going to find something that works.
But you have kids that will go to a trusted adult and tell them, hey, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the times it doesn't really
go anywhere.
They'll tell them they'll keep an eye on it. But I mean, you have a class of, I don't know, I mean, we're a small county, so I mean, 100 and something, that's a lot in one grade, and you're trying to.
That is a lot for one grade. I'm trying to think of how many was in my grade.
So I graduated a class of 380 something.
I think ours was like a lot less.
Yeah, it was, but I didn't go to school up here. I think the big.
Well, I didn't actually graduate from the school up here.
That's right.
I actually graduated from a whole different county.
That's right. Me too. But I mean, they do their best that they can, but at the same time, it's kind of like, what do we take serious and what do we not? But I mean, if it's a constant repeat, I think it needs to be investigated.
Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yes, investigate it more.
Investigate the kid. And I'll be honest with you, you might wind up finding out that the kid that's doing the bullying has a shitty home life.
And now, a lot of times that's the case. Like, there's obviously some major home life issues going on.
So what do you do?
That's a good question.
I mean, do you get more counselors in? Like, what do you do?
I don't think there's been a correct answer across the board.
I think having a zero tolerance policy for bullying, but yeah, there's like so many things. I don't know. I mean, because then you're going to wind up with kids who said something.
Well, it's different. They can say, I was just joking. But, like, okay, so from when we were kids, the internet was just coming out. So there wasn't online bullying with us. I mean, you bullied it to them face. Like, I'm going to bully you to your face. Now you've got to look at it. It's online. It's
okay. So if it's online, then there's proof of it.
Yeah, but they'll hide. You got to think they'll hide it behind fake profiles. I've seen it. They'll make up a fake account and do the bullying off of a fake account.
So will they do the bullying online and then not?
And then not at school.
Mm-hmm. So then nobody knows.
And that's the issue.
So then
it's
I would be like, so then get off of social media.
Yeah.
But
that's why I check my kids' social media all the time. I'll do random checks. I'll just yell at them, say, bring me your phones. And they'll be like,
sell check.
I mean, that's pretty much it. But I check their Snapchats, which I don't.
How do you check Snapchat? Doesn't it just like...
My kids aren't very smart when it comes to that, and they save everything. Perfect for me. I check.
I bet they don't now because you put it on now.
Instagram, I don't really have to worry about because, like, Skylar's Instagram is only for ball.
I think you can set their phones up, though, in a way where things don't get deleted.
Yeah, we used to have an app, so anytime they would post, it would pop up on my phone.
Okay, so...
I don't have it anymore. I need to.
So then you have people who are like, oh, well, now you're going to be a helicopter parent.
Oh, well, if it's to keep my kids safe.
If it keeps your kid alive.
Mm-hmm. Because...
Hover mother.
I would rather be a hover mother than anything because you need to be checking what your kid posts on social media.
Not only that, there was actually a girl, she had been talking to somebody that was actually, there have been other outlets, and I'll have to look up her name, but she had been talking to somebody online that she thought was her age.
I'm fixing to go over one of them stories.
They convinced her to leave her house and bring her laptop with her, and she's never been seen or heard from since.
It's insane. Like, you have to be involved in your kids. You have to talk to them about the dangers of social media. It wasn't like it when we were kids.
Well, you didn't have social media then.
I mean, I think when I was
we are older than Google.
We are. I think when I was 15, we got internet in, like, AOL chat rooms.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Thing. Yeah, but it's nothing like it is now. Speaking of social media stuff, there was a kid named Jordan John. What did we say his last name was again? DeMay.
Jordan John DeMay.
He was 17. He took his own life on March 25th, 2022, because it's a sextortion scam. Yeah,
sextortion.
So
sextortion is where somebody convinces you to send them explicit images of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They then turn around and they use those images as a means to blackmail you to give them whatever it is that they're asking for.
So, yep. He thought he was talking to a girl that was 15. I can't remember if it was 15 or 16, but it really was a man named Samuel Agashi from Nigeria. And he used those emails or those images to blackmail him for money. This poor kid pretty much drained his bank account until there was nothing left. And then Samuel demanded $1,000.
And he had nothing. He had nothing to give him.
He had nothing left. And then he used a fake account.
The Nigerian used a fake account?
And it was Danny Roberts. And he sent him a message saying, I have screenshots. All your followers and tags can send this nudes to everyone. And also send your nudes to your family and friends until it goes viral. All you've to do is to cooperate with me. And of course, it's not good English because, Jordan responded back with IKMSRN, which is, I'm going to kill myself right now because of you. And then the response back from Samuel was good. Do that. Fast. I'll make you do it. And then right after that, Jordan killed himself. And
his parents were asleep.
His parents were asleep and they thought
they had no idea.
They thought somebody came in and killed their kid. Sextortion scams have over 7,000 scams a year reported, and more than over a dozen, at least more over a dozen in suicides.
Are they mostly in children?
Any child can be targeted. Ages 14 through 17-year-old boys are the biggest target. This is why I sit there and say, check your kids' social media. Because they think they're talking to
Have a talk with your sons. Yes. Have a talk with your sons.
And your daughters.
About sending those pictures.
And your daughters. Because, okay, what happens on Snapchat might disappear.
It doesn't disappear.
It doesn't disappear. I have watched Jason work a case. It was big here. And it was all minor girls sending X-rated pictures.
Booby shots.
Full body.
What?
We're doing full body.
Kids here?
Yes. To a boy.
Did they thought was?
No, they knew. He was 20. And I'm talking a ton of girls sending these pictures.
Do all the parents know, or?
Yeah. There was a big case. It was insane. It was over Snapchat. And these girls thought this was going to disappear. It is a simple warrant to get. If, say you're like, hey, this is happening. He just had to have a warrant to get all those images from Snapchat.
So let's think about this for a second. So not only is the guy getting the pictures of them, you now have a detective who's having to look at those pictures.
Yeah.
You don't only just have that detective, you have whatever investigative team. Okay? So those pictures are now part of a file. It's now a judicial. So you're not just showing your body to who you think you're showing it to. You have now shown it to everybody. At least, more than 20 people?
And I know those girls were embarrassed, and I know they, couldn't believe it. Because Snapchat makes it seem like they disappear.
Now, were they manipulated into doing it? Were any of them like, nah, I don't want it? And then they were just kind of guilted into it?
I'm not for sure. I know there was videos, lots of pictures.
To one guy?
And these girls thought, it's fine, it's on Snapchat, it will go away. It does not.
Nope. Okay? Once it's out there, it's out there.
It's out there.
Caitlin Nicole Davis. This was December 30th, 2016. While this was like a while ago now. She was 12 years old.
God.
I know. This one I was like, what?
My heart.
She was 12 years old. She was actually a victim of abuse in her home, physical, sexual, and mental. And she recorded a lot of things and posted it onto her YouTube. Well, no, there was no help. From what I understand, from everything that I was looking at, there was really no help. She had video documentation of her abuse. And then she said, I can't do this anymore. And hung herself live.
I don't understand.
On the media of live.me.
I don't understand.
And that video's out there. Like, the whole town is upset about it. They tried to get it to come down.
And it won't.
It won't. It's on the internet. The police force tried to. They reached out to all these websites, and they were like, please take this down. And you can't. It's out there. So.
There's got to be a way, though. You know what I mean? There's got to be something.
40 minutes. 40 minutes. Of live. And you see the whole thing. She talks to the camera. She goes. She stands up.
Here's my thing.
Does the whole thing.
It breaks my heart that she didn't have a trusted adult she could go to. Or a trusted anybody. That she thought that was the only way out. Was there not a teacher? A different family member? A best friend's parent? Like, to get help. And that's hard.
Okay.
That one's hard. I know. That one's hard.
Well, do you want to get into mine?
We can.
Because you're talking about having that.
Finding that safe space?
Safe space.
Yep. We're talking about that.
Okay. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, what?
Yeah.
I think the only person that actually knew was my mom. And you're going to find out why she was the only one that knew. So, at about 13, 14. That's a hard age.
Is that really your hormones are not in check? You're trying to figure out how to.
And I might cry.
Oh,
I might cry for the little teenage me, because it's like I know what I was going through, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so hard. We live in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a small town that they are good people. Sometimes they can be closed-minded, you know.
We're a very small, very old town.
Yeah. And it's just... So, there's a movie called Fried Green Tomatoes. In the very beginning of that movie, you know, Idgie Threadgood, when we first meet her, she's having to wear a dress for her sister's wedding.
And she did not want to.
She didn't want to, you know. She runs out the house, ripping clothes off, climbs up the tree. She has a talk with her brother. He goes up to get her. She says something in there, and I'm like, it hits me every time, because I'm like, I know that feeling. She says, what if God made a mistake? I know how that feels.
Right.
I know how it feels to be in something and you're like, I'm different from everybody. And I don't fit in. I don't belong here. And everybody around you. So there was, okay. So at the same time that I was 13, 14, there was an incident. There was a death. And it made headline news. I'm going to say the name and everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, Matthew Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He died on October 12th, 1998. He was beaten and tied to a fence post and left for dead. He actually died 6 days after this whole incident. I'm not gonna go into Matthew Shepard's story a whole lot, other than to say a lot of this happened because he's gay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the same time that happened is about the time that I'm realizing I'm different. I'm gay. I'm learning what it is.
Right.
I'm understanding that I don't have crushes on boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have crushes on girls. And at the same time that happens, we're in a small town.
Yeah.
People are making comments and they're saying things and they're not being aware of what they're saying. I also, in a way, was outed. I told one friend, that friend wanted to tell everybody. But the way that she would do it would be, is it okay to tell so-and-so? And so-and-so would be standing right there. And it would kind of put me on the spot, and I'd have to be like, okay, well, everybody knows. So I went from being somebody who had quite a bit of friends to no friends. Not really, you know. I went from being invited to things to not invited to things. My parents were getting a divorce. So I was going through that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going through home life changes, body changes. My life is changing. I'm recognizing something about myself. All of these people are talking about the thing that I'm recognizing about myself as a horribly bad thing. Oh, let's add on the religious trauma of it too, of I'm going to hell for something that I can't control. And everybody is talking about how it's a choice, and I'm like, I don't remember choosing. You know,
I remember this being a choice.
I would like to change it back. You know, but you there was a day that I had been experiencing comments, you know, like people would make comments.
Mm-hmm.
They would make them around me. They would make them about me, where I could hear it, like just enough where you could hear it.
Just to make a point.
You know, I remember, I don't know why, but I was home alone. I was home alone one day, and I was done.
Mm-mm.
You know, I had nobody to talk to because I didn't understand it in myself. And
that's a good way to put that too.
Is what? Is
like
that I didn't understand it in myself?
You don't understand it yourself.
Yeah, you don't. Well, I mean, you're 13 years old.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to know about? You don't know life. Like, the emotions are so raw. They're so big. It's not there. I get that people are like, I want to understand why. And didn't they realize that this isn't forever? No, they don't. They don't realize that because this is happening now. These kids can't see past now. They can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Right.
I went to my dad's room and I got his revolver.